Welcome to RLCS Overtime, ladies and gentlemen, your one-stop shop for all things RLCS and Rocket League eSports. I'm your host, Wavefunk. I got a Leafex, I got a findable carpet. Guys, how you feeling today?
I can't feel not great after that sweet, sweet jam.
Oh, dude, that song is my favorite.
It still gets me.
It gets me going.
Yeah.
I feel like I can just play. I can't, but I feel like I can play piano after listening.
That's an amazing feeling. Just the song just embodies you with the ability to play an instrument. That's pretty cool. We got a great show in store for you today. We're going to talk about top 5 matches of the season. We're going to get into some OCE action. We got an interview with Greasy Meister later. It's going to be a lot of fun. But first, we're going to start off today talking about the OCE Championship here. Throwdown TV is putting on, and we've got Yummy Cheeseman on the line. As always, our expert on all things Australia and New Zealand and OCE in general. How's it going, Yummy?
Oh, it's great to be back. Thanks for the introduction, Wavepunk. And, how's it going? I'm super excited. It's actually just a few days out from the OCE Championship final. And as we move closer and closer, it just sinks in more and more that we're about to go to RLCS.
Yeah, you guys are so close there. Your championship just around the corner. So talk to me about how your championship works. What's the format for anybody who hasn't been following your scene actively?
Okay, so it is a double elimination bracket. Unlike NA and EU, we actually have a LAN final for the regionals. 4 teams, double elimination, best of 5 for the first 3 rounds, and then best of 7 after that for the qualifying matches. And whoever makes it into the grand final goes to RLCS, and then, of course, plays out for what is essentially a championship in its own right as well, the Throwdown OCE Rocket League Championship.
All right, so just to recap for everybody, Yummy, there are 4 teams we've got here. We have Alpha Sydney, we have Jam Gaming, we have one more, and we have Sandcastle. All right, that's 4 teams going. And what I really love about it is it's a double elimination. So what that means is no matter what, at the minimum, you're going to play against 2 out of the other 3 teams. Because even if you lose first round, you've got to go against somebody else in the bottom bracket. How do these teams match up? What are your favorite pairings? How do you think these teams are going to go against each other?
It is an absolutely crazy show at the moment in the top 4 of OCE, because you do have sort of a triangle between Alpha Sydney, Sandcastle, and Jam Gaming. Because Jam Gaming, every single time they've versed Sandcastle, they win. Jam Gaming up against, Sandcastle up against Alpha Sydney seems to go in the favor of Sandcastle, and then Alpha Sydney against Jam, same way. And then one more sort of just sitting on the outside, just trying to beat all of them, though they do have the best results up against Sandcastle themselves.
So I want to get into our first match here. So obviously there's been a league play, much like we had here. First match, Alpha Sydney versus one more. How did they pan out when they faced each other in the actual league play?
In league play, Alpha Sydney took down one more 3-0. It was a very clean series. But it was really interesting because that was the week that they actually, Alpha Sydney played pretty dismally. They lost to Sandcastle immediately after that, 3-0. They weren't playing well, but they just still edged out one more. Just goes to show how strong Alpha Sydney are right now, that they're able to do that.
And so then the follow-up match there was Jam Gaming and Sandcastle. These 2 guys that will be the other match. How do you think that match will go in your championship?
I think it's we still got the highlights going up there for one more versus Alpha Sydney. So we will continue on with that. But yeah, so Sandcastle up against Jam Gaming. I think this is the series that everyone really, really is going to be watching. Not just out there in the crowd, but all 4 of the teams are going to have to be watching this, because it really determines everything for the rest of the bracket. Alpha Sydney want to avoid Sandcastle. Sandcastle want to be up against Alpha Sydney. So if Alpha Sydney have won their first match, then Sandcastle need to win. Jam Gaming, they kind of do their own thing, but they're probably wanting to avoid Alpha Sydney. And one more, they're going to be wanting to verse Sandcastle. And whoever wins that match has a very, very good chance of making it through to that grand final, through the upper bracket, or at least in the overall sense of things. So that is definitely the match to watch. And those 2 teams, they're huge rivals. Sandcastle, they have Snarf. He left Jam Gaming after playing with them for a year. It was the longest running trio, I think possibly in all of Rocket League history. and he left them for Sandcastle, and now there's blood between them. They want the win, and I don't think Monty Connor and Bango is going to want to let them.
All right, Yummy, I've got a quick question. So it's a really big talking point that we've come up with for North America and Europe. Playing under pressure. Some teams do it well, some teams don't. And I think a really big part of OCE being brand new to this is going to be their ability to play under pressure. Are there any teams that you think really do well under pressure of these four, or some that just like really don't do that good when they know they have to make the win? Are there any that stand out to you?
Definitely stands out. Alpha Sydney, they're on the verge of taking their 5th major tournament in a row here in OCE. They always show up big in the big matches, sometimes drop things in community or lower weekly tournaments, but when it comes to the big tournaments, they really show up. And Jam Gaming, I think a lot of people kind of forget or don't know that they have been the dominant team for the longest time. They used to be the team to beat, and they still sort of are. It's interesting to see sort of the big switch up come through between Jam Gaming and Alpha Sydney, but they have the ability and the experience on LAN. You compare that to Sandcastle One More, both only having been to one LAN before, both very brand new to that offline experience. I worry about them, but on the same note, they do have that little step up. They've all been practicing for 4 weeks, and now One More, after talking with them, they've said that they're very confident going through. And again, if you check their Twitter, you can see the memes coming out already about Throwdown from One More.
Oh man, so we've talked about these 4 teams here, and I want to put you on the spot here, Yummy. Who is the 2 teams who are going to land from OCE?
It's really changed a lot, time and time again over this season. I think Alpha Sydney are still the ones that I would have to say are the favorites going through. They've really looked strong. They went 6-1 in league play. So I'm going to put them through not only as the favorites to go to RLCS, but probably the favorites to go as first place. And it's up to everyone else to beat them out. And second place, this might be a little controversial. It might be a slight off pick, but I'm actually going to pick Sandcastle over Jam. And again, it's a very interesting matchup. But I think if Sandcastle... when Sandcastle played Jam last time, Sandcastle, it was their first week playing with Snarf. It was their first week playing with that lineup. And now they've grown so much that even though they keep getting beaten by Jam in community tournaments, they're getting to a point where they're still considered the number 2 team in OCE. And if they can get past Jam, they can probably even get past Alpha Sydney. That's how much I believe in them. And they will make it through, have a really good effort at RLCS as well.
Strong support there for Sandcastle. I know. I would like to see one more. Just after the story you told us about them and the fan favorites, I would love to see a team with that sort of energy at LAN. Who do you guys want to see?
I'm on the Sandcastle. I mean, I've met Dumbo. Like I've seen him. It was at the season 2. They were out there, and those of you guys actually have been pretty supportive. Come out to season 1 and 2. It's really cool to see them out there. But I mean, I have that personal connection to them now. Again, I've seen them. I watched them actually play the other day on stream, and they were beating Double actually repeatedly. So like even with that ping, they're doing a really good job. I'm a really big fan of those guys.
So one of the really fun things I think is an interesting dynamic that we don't see in North America and Europe as much, since OC is such a smaller pool just in general, because the population is just a smaller top-tier population. These guys play against each other all the time. Constantly just playing against each other at the top tier, and it's really cool to see. I don't really have a personal preference. I think Jam, probably knowing that they've had this legacy for so long, and this is their time to truly prove it, they're going to bring out their A game, so I think Jam would probably make it.
Now, one thing, Yummy, I want to ask you about is we talk about this all the time about how like you guys do so much play on LAN, okay? And I realized earlier I said who's making it to LAN, and for you guys that's like all of our play happens at LAN. What are you talking about? So for the World Championships here, as we look at the World Championship bracket, how do you think that factor that you guys play on LAN all the time is going to factor into this monster of a World Championship?
It is a really interesting question. I've said that every question so far has been really interesting. So glad to see we have a very interesting show going on. But the big thing is, and I look back at season 1 of RLCS, and I look at how the teams played, and I'll be politically correct, and they they didn't quite play up to standard, because I don't want to say that everybody played like garbage there at RLCS season 1.
He doesn't want to say it, folks.
And I don't know if it's going to be the same for OCE. Yes, we have that LAN experience, and we're hitting our 5th LAN here with Throwdown OCE, a 5th major one on a big stage in front of a live audience. But there's a huge difference between a $12,000, a $9,000 LAN in front of 500 people max, and a $150,000 LAN in front of what is potentially 1 million people watching over the course of a day. The difference in pressure between those two is going to be so huge that I don't know if the LAN experience is going to help or if it's not. I think it will a little bit, but my worry is that the nerves. My worry isn't that OCE can take it to NA and EU, because I know online and in a comfortable situation, I think that'd be fine. But that's my one concern, especially with Northern Gaming sitting there ready to face that number 2 seed.
Yeah, for sure. Like Carpet said earlier, the story of Season 3 has been who can deal with the pressure, and so we will get to see once and for all if OCE can stand up to the level of North America and EU here. But Yummy, thanks for talking to us, man. It's been great to have you on, and good luck with y'all's championship.
Thank you very much. I'll see you guys this Sunday.
Awesome. See you soon, dude. That is Yummy Cheeseman there from Throwdown TV.
I like him.
Yeah, he's fantastic, guys.
My favorite Cheeseman.
He's I'm not even. If you're gonna have a favorite Cheeseman, the Yummy one's a good option. You know,
you can't go wrong with anything.
You wouldn't want the sour one or the expired Cheeseman. That would.
Technically, that's all cheese is.
You're not wrong. That's a great point there. But guys, we have a great show in store for you. We're going to go over the top 5 matches from the North American and European regular seasons and league playoffs. It's going to be a lot of fun. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you again right after the break. Back to RLCS Overtime. We just got done talking to Yummy Cheeseman about OCE and how their playoffs are going to be going. And we've already done our playoffs over here. We already have our teams set up who are going to be going to LAN. And so we can look back at the whole season for North America and OCE, reflect on what our top 5 series were. Guys, this is reminiscing. This is going back and just looking at the season and what the things that we remember that we thought were fun.
There was a lot of fun. And it's actually really hard to break down and pick out which ones I think there's a couple that probably come to people's minds immediately that happened very recently. But beyond that, there were a lot of good games. All the teams in all of RLCS showed up a lot.
Well, it's always that mix-up of is it just for the best performance or kind of the craziest result? There are just some games that are wow, I did not expect it to go that way. That makes it a pretty crazy series, but if both teams are kind of performing weirdly, like, does that make it the perfect series? But we've got our top 5 here, so you guys get to see that.
Yeah, we certainly do. First, the number 5 series we're going to talk about here, Mocket versus Northern Gaming during the playoffs. This was a semifinal match where the winner moved on and into the finals, and this was Mocket's day, guys.
Yeah, I mean, look, K-Dop's now, like, a few people have been considered him as to be one of the best players in the world at this point. At the beginning of the whole season, Maestro Remco weren't having like the best chemistry. They picked it up. Honestly, I was watching in the back, doing cameras and that, and technically, these teams were on point during this series. It was hard coming off that last Flipside match and watching this too, but like there were so many good things happening.
And this was the last time we got to see Maestro play this season.
Yep.
Which is kind of just one of those soul-crushing moments where I love watching Remco and Maestro play together. This pair, this duo, they've been around since the beginning. They were one of the first duos to really start to, put a chink in the armor that was Flipside Tactics on the European side, bringing it all the way to Game 7. And that was their chance to lock in buy into Season 4 league play. Now, not only will they not have him at LAN, but they have to also work towards Season 4 league play by making it through the qualifiers.
Yeah, and this if there was a season where we see Northern Gaming maybe not finish top 3, I feel like this is the season where they might drop, but we will see as they move forward. Well done to Mocket as they were able to round out that series. Well, moving on to number 4, Denial versus G2. This was also the matchup in the playoffs. This was the end of the road for G2. 2 seasons in a row now that they have not made it to the World Championships, and it was the Canadian squad that did it to them.
We watch so many times teams that come into league play and we know they have the potential individually. Corrupted G, Lethamir, Sad Jr. We know how good they are at performing, and it just seems like you're waiting for that moment, and this is when they brought it out.
Leaf, I gotta ask, like, how did it feel for you watching the Canadian squad make it all the way?
I mean, I like all these teams. I said it before. I want all these teams to make it. But the fact that like we kind of have our little own national team there, it was great. Seeing the flags out in chat during that, it's great. Honestly, it's really cool that all these guys are in the same. I'm pretty sure they're all from Toronto as well.
Oh, really?
Or at least the surrounding area.
It's just funny because we were talking earlier about how it's like, well, the thing is like there are fully North American teams, but there's a bunch of them. Right now, there's only one totally Canadian squad, and I think so many people looked at this and were like, G2, they're gonna finally light it up here. But this series also went to 7 games. Every single one of our series in the top 5 went the full length, if it was a best of 5 or a best of 7, and here it was Denial that pulled it out.
I gotta give a shit to Sad. Honestly, I think a lot of it was Sad Jr. Sad Jr. was not doing the best during this entire series, or RLCS Season 3, until this point. He stepped up. He was everywhere. Offense, defense, didn't matter. He wasn't trying to do any stupid, risky plays. He was doing what needed to be done.
Well, we saw him, he made 12 saves in that series right there, and I think he has been kind of filling in the back rotation. So he's not the flashy player here on Denial, but he is the player that's enabling them to win.
I mean, just think about the moments leading up to the playoffs. G2 had an opportunity to be auto-qualified for LAN before the playoffs. They almost made top 2 spots. And Denial were fighting for the 6th.
Yeah.
They were like both on complete opposite ends of the spectrum. So going into it, you'd be a fool to predict this result.
It's the same sort
No offense to Denial, but like why on earth would a team that almost made top 2 fall to a team that barely made it into the playoffs? So to see this kind of result and to watch Denial pull it out when they really needed it was nuts.
It's similar to the story of Mocket on the other side, where they were struggling for that top 6 spot in the end of the regular season, and then end up winning the whole thing, as they also have qualified for Season 4 at this point. But moving on to our 3rd series, G2 versus Atelier. We'll give G2 some love here, as they had some amazing series during the regular season here. This was back in week 1 when they reverse swept Atelier.
I'm so glad these guys got picked up by an org now. They deserve it. I mean, I'm not going to lie, and I got to say it here for the record, I didn't even have them predicted to make it in the top 4 for LAN.
Sure.
I saw too many inconsistencies. But all 3 of those boys stepped it up. They figured out their mistakes, and Turtle's been such a good backbone for that team.
And just to kind of bring it up, I know it might be a little bit too late. Sorry, G2. But this was the G2 that when I saw come out, I'm like, this is it. This is a team that's going to contend for that finals, for the grand finals. The passing plays were amazing.
The passing plays, these shots, this shot right at the very end, to tie it up, and then there was one more, the infamous dribble from JNaps to get it in overtime. Here Matt comes in from the side, and JNaps just fakes him off, able to put that one in. We were going crazy. It was Atelier, now known as Rogue, as they have been picked up, and they will be moving into LAN and into Season 4 under that name, so good to see them in that place. But G2 did light it up here in a way we had not seen. This was the beginning of the series of reverse sweeps we had in the season.
Well, I mean, I came into this, I'm like, G2 was actually one of my favorites to contend against EU at the beginning. Their playstyle was based purely off speed and faith, and something happened halfway through it that fell apart. I hope we can see it again, because it was magnificent to watch.
The passing plays were something I'd just never seen prior to that, at least as consistently as it was. Every series they'd do 4 or 5 crazy passing plays that are so hard to predict, usually about 2 of them resulting in goals. They had very creative approaches to the net. They were trying to avoid the backboard. But yeah, as you said, Leaf, later in the season, that became less prevalent. I think the pressure started to fall onto them, and they just weren't performing the same way.
Now, the story of Season 1 started in that match right there with the reverse sweep, and then the very next day in Europe, Leftovers versus Flipside, we saw another one that started our streak of reverse sweeps. Leftovers was a team that nobody had any expectations of coming into LAN, and then here against Flipside, they made such a statement coming back in the full 5 games, and Farah, a player that nobody knew, is now a household name.
That's exactly it. I think every season we've seen like one specific player. Last one was Devo, and now Farah coming in, and everyone knows Farah now. Farah, like that, it's imprinted in everyone's brains that this guy is on point.
And this was just one of those series that, for me, watching it, I mean, now with hindsight, it set the tone for both of these teams. I mean, this is the infamous dribble.
There it is.
Complete control, just absolutely destroying Flipside's defense. But this set the tone.
You're right.
Watch the beginning of Flipside really not performing to their standard. The rest of the season, they really weren't doing it as well as we'd seen them pull. I mean, they didn't lock themselves in a top 2 spot. They were in a lower spot going into playoffs, and that was the beginning of Leftovers showing like, hey, we can pull this off.
Honestly, it seemed to be a theme with a couple of those top teams, G2 and Flipside. I honestly think G2 had that confidence at the beginning. Okay, a couple of reverse sweeps, let's win these games. They felt too good, and they threw it away at the end. Flipside, after winning Season 2, like, okay, we got this coming into this season, and they realized, well, this is a bit of a wake-up call at this point.
That dribble from Farah at the end of that series, I was casting with Shogun, I believe, and it was, I've seen so many times where a player gets it past one, then gets it past the second, but almost never do they get it past all 3 players, and it was in that moment, especially because it was Farah. That was the thing that made this series so special to me, was the fact that it was like, it wasn't that it was Snasky or Sicky, these veteran players we've seen in RLCS before, it was this rookie that we've never seen before, playing the world champs. He dunks Greasy Meister at the end, just completely mind games him and gets it past him. And he came into existence in that moment.
Let's also just talk about that. It was a team of leftovers.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't have a consistent synergy behind Farah to be able to set those things up.
I think my favorite part is when you were interviewing Snasky, I think here on the 1v1, he was like, we were in comms and we're like, I mean, I guess we should start reversing Flipside now. Like, they were down 2-0, and they kind of made a serious joke of like, I guess let's reverse sweep Flipside tactics in the first week of the season, because this is totally possible. And then like I said, like, that was the tone to set for the rest of the season for Leftovers. That was it. Like, once you can take out Flipside and reverse sweep, who can't you beat, right?
Yeah, and they immediately followed it up by beating Northern Gaming in the match right after. The 2 biggest teams, we were all like, man, rough week for Leftovers here in week 1. And they're like, no, we got this.
They're like,
no
more like
problem.
breakfast.
Yeah, easy. Who you got for us next? They remained undefeated for a very long time, and they have qualified for LAN. We will see them at the World Championships. I'm excited. But the first series, the number 1 series we're going to talk about here, Flipside versus Resonant in league play. Flipside got beaten here by Leftovers, but then in this match, they're able to bounce back against Resonant. So Resonant was the last team they faced in league play, and they lost it in 5 games. Here in the playoffs, we were able to see them bounce back in 7 games and get the win, qualify.
That was you and I, Carpet, wasn't it?
It's an unforgettable moment. Leaf, you're forever etched in my memory, even if I don't want you there, because of this series. But I mean, you mentioned it. This was the last time we saw them play against each other, right before the playoffs started, and Flipside was just so off. They performed really poorly. We talked about it, and it kind of started a bit the same this series. And to watch Flipside Tactics almost go down to a team that we barely projected to make it to top 4 was just something that was so fun to watch.
It was cool because it really showcased how close all these regions, but EU specifically, are to each other. Resonant They kept it up throughout this entire series. Even when Flipside started to answer halfway through the series, it wasn't like Flipside suddenly was winning this easily. Resident still kept them to almost like a goal each time. And we went to a Game 7 overtime, 2.5-minute overtime. Even once they figured out what they needed to do, it still was barely enough to beat Resident.
It feels so good to watch a series go to the last game and then go to overtime. You know you have a classic on your hands when it's like it literally comes down to one goal and everybody knows it. It feels so much better to me also when a game ends in overtime because again, the game ends in a goal. You know, there's no chance of the clock expiring and the ball just touching the ground and that being the end. Like no, you know it's gonna end with the ball exploding in somebody's net and cars flying all over the place and one team celebrating.
And there's one thing Flipside's proved to us is they love performing under pressure.
Oh yeah.
That's all they've shown us since the very beginning. When you look at the first lane, lower bracket all the way to the grand finals. You look at the second lane, lower bracket all the way to the grand finals. You look here, they were one of the bottom seeds going into playoffs and they almost lost. Overtime Game 7. I don't think anyone understands that is one freakish pinch away from losing all potentials of going to land. And then they won the next one. I don't understand. But I mean, what a cool way, like what a weird performance for a team to put on when they know they have literally no choice but to win.
It was cool that they beat Resonant there, the team that had beaten them most recently in league play. And then they face off against Leftovers, the first team that beat them in league play, as we saw in the number 2 series. And they managed to get the win there as well to bounce back and put them all the way into the championships. They were able to defend their regional championship title, but they drop it to Mocket. In the end, Flipside going to be going to land, and we'll probably just see them drop into lower bracket again.
Most likely.
Immediately.
I honestly, I would put everything on that they will end up in the lower bracket. Put it right here. They will end up in the lower bracket, come through, and potentially win. Unless Gibbs is right, Mocket will be winning the whole thing.
We will see. We'll get to talk to Greasy Meister later as well, which will be fun. We'll get his perspective on how that match went in his mind, and the whole season, the things that have happened. So it'll be good to talk to Greasy. But also, this series, we want to break it down in full detail. We've talked about kind of the story implications here. We want to talk about the nitty-gritty of what happened during that game. Leaf's going to take us through in the next segment. Going to break down Flipside versus Resident in league play. It's going to be a lot of fun. You won't want to miss it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Skin for so long. Oh, I am in your head, so tell me, is it wrong? Oh, you fell under my spell, so well, so well. Oh, you fell under my spell, so well, so well. You fell under my spell.
What's going on? Welcome back, ladies and gents. I'm Leaf X. We're in the real world. I'm known as Brody Moore, and this is Brody's Breakdown. I got to work on that. It needs to be a lot better. We have a series on our hands that was Flipside versus Resident. It was a great series. If you haven't seen it, make sure you get back and watch that. A couple clips here I'm going to break down and try to tell the story of what you did miss out on and why the series went back and forth as it did. We're going to start off on Resident's side. These guys came out with so much power. They came out with speed, precision, and Flipside had to answer that. Now the question is, what did Resident do to really get themselves to that point? I think they have a 3-step process. They have a step 1, engage, step 2, assess, step 3, either re-engage or leave the situation, allow another teammate to move in. Now we're going to see a lot of examples for Resident on that one, starting off with a lot. Now he's got a teammate over here, Magnus, that's kind of chilling out by the ball. They're going to work together to start off this engage thing. Magnus already engaging, a lot assessed. He's going to engage. He'll get right up into the play and allow Magnus to start his step 2 part, assess. So a lot jumps up to the ball. Here's his engage. Step number 1. Now, Magnus has the opportunity to either re-engage or get out of the play and try again. He's in his assess situation. Metsanaris is at the midfield. Magnus obviously sees, and by his jump there, that Metsanaris is coming in to engage. He assesses and leaves the situation. Now, a lot is in that situation once again. We've engaged, let's assess. Metsanaris is currently over here on the far side doing his engage step number 1. He'll do his assess in just a second. But a lot would like to engage again. He's assessed the situation, knows that Magnus isn't ready, is out of boost. A lot will have to stay in. He's running out of boost, but he's still good. This is how they keep the pressure. They know that 1 second with lack of pressure will allow Flipside to move back down onto their side and allow Flipside to start an attack. Now here you see it, Magnus all boosted up behind the ball will start his engage. A lot still in the situation, down to about 10 boost at this point though, realizes that Metsanaris down in the corner isn't ready to engage. He'll have to move back down into the play and engage one more time. I've said this before and I'll say it again, but boost is a crutch, and a lot's going to prove that. There it is. A little bit of pressure is going to allow Lot just to keep that offense going. And now Metsanaris, who's moving in for an attack, will move up to the ball to get rid of that one. A lot, step number 2. What was that again? Oh yeah, it was assess. He assesses the situation, he knows Mets is coming in, and he knows Magnus is also there for some pressure. He finally has a chance to get out, get some boost of stealth. Step 1, step 2, step 3. It's what allowed Resident to keep so much pressure on the offense against Flipside tactics, and throughout the entire series, it didn't stop. Flipside, though, had to answer. We all know how this series went, and we all know that Flipside did answer eventually, and that was with some passing plays. You're going to see one of them right here. It wasn't the craziest of passing plays, but it was all 3 people involved, and I honestly think that was very critical to these guys finding the chemistry that they needed to be able to do that throughout the rest of the series. You're going to see the first initial touch from Marky Duda. Greasy Meister is just off screen down here, so Marky Duda is going to get a back pass. They're in the corner, lots of pressure. They know that they have Resident eSports defense a little bit scrambly at this point. So what does Greasy do? He slams one off the backboard. He knows that all 3 of his teammates are there and ready to attack. A lot. The last defender is leaving his net. You generally don't want to leave your net open, but Cooks knows that he has to. He has to get up for that. We already talked about how Resident knows that they have to keep the pressure on. So of course a lot is going to be up for that. Of course a lot is going to attack this one. Cooks here, up so quick, is able to get a goal, and there's the spark. This is what Flipside needed. We have another passing play to show you guys, and this time it starts on defense, then moves on to offense, and this is Flipside showing you exactly why passing plays can work absolutely anywhere. As we move forward, Marky Duda is going to receive a missed touch here from Magnus, who comes off the wall, trying to keep the pressure on. We know Resident is doing that. Flipside's aware of this. He sees Greasy Meister coming back. He knows Greasy Meister can't move this ball forward. He has an attacker, Metsanaris, behind the ball, so Greasy Meister right here has to do something with it, though. Marky Duda passes it to him, and it is able to get the pass off, but what can Greasy do? Can Greasy set up a play? Not particularly, but he can help Marky Duda out. Incredible touch from Greasy. He's been doing this throughout this entire series. Sends it backwards. I've seen way too many people just throw it up off the corner here and give the ball out to the opponents. Both Mets and I believe Magnus are ready to attack, and that probably would have been a goal. Cooks is moving back to the net, but is he ready to defend it by himself? Likely not. Marky Duda is going to be able to get a good read off of a lot. That's who it was that was coming up, and set them onto offense. Without this defensive passing plays, they weren't going to get into offense at all. They might have actually been scored on. And being a goal down, you kind of want to get a goal. So this has been the turnaround. Now they're on offense. Let's just pass again. Let's do it again. So Cooks here, all boosted up, is going to send a pass up to Marky, who's going to grab one, just before it hits the wall, turn it right back down to Greasy Meister. You see him in the far there, if you can't. Little tiny itty bitty Greasy Meister. Look how cute he is. He's coming up for a play. He knows that Marky Duda is going to give that ball to him. So what does Marky do? He delivers. Now the defenders, well, there's only one defender, and it's a lot. There's not much you can do against a passing play that's coming in this fast. Magnus scrambles, tries to get there in time, but the passing play from defense to offense allowed Flipside to grab a goal, tying that game up. Now we all know the whole series ended up tying up when we hit a game number 7. We ended up in overtime, but before we got to that, we had Cooks here, a little bit off his step. Missed touches all around this corner. You're going to see him get a touch off the wall and then try to follow it up, but he misses. Cooks here, you can't be doing this. Now that's going to allow Resonant to be able to keep the pressure on, as we know. We talked about it in that first clip that they can do. Cooks here plays a little bit of a shark game, trying to get out of his own net. You can see him hesitate a few times, and that's not what you want, especially coming down to this final game. 3.5 minutes left, 0-0. You know it's going to stay that way for a while. Off the wall, one more mistouch. Cooks, what are you doing? That ball needs to go that way. You have 2 defenders chilling out, one just off screen here, and then Magnus chilling out at that boost pad. If you send that down into the corner where he does, they're just going to end up creating an attack. Because of that, because of this nervous play, Cuxer wasn't able to help his team really break out onto offense. You need all 3 people, and we saw it in the clip before, to be able to create those passing plays to move forward onto offense. Eventually, Cuxer realizes what needs to happen. With 1 minute left, they are down a goal. Resident eSports is ready to take this series and put themselves into land. Flipside doesn't want to let that happen. Previous world champions, I don't think we're getting kicked out quite yet. Cooks decides to move on to offense. There's Cooks here, ready to help Marky Duda and Greasy Meister put some pressure on. With a minute left, as I said, they absolutely needed that. There he is, just setting that off the backboard. It allows Greasy Meister and Marky Duda to boost up and start an attack. But he's not done yet. There he is again, putting that ball off the backboard. Now you're going to see Greasy Meister come up for this infamous double tap that allowed Marky Duda to get an insanely fast spin around. All 3 of them, though, on offense, creating pressure, all because Cookser stepped it up. Cookser stopped playing nervous. He's been on the big stage before, but folks, it doesn't go away. When you're at a point like this and potentially not even making it into land, the nerves start to kick in again. But we all know what happened at the end. Cooksier stepped it up, and Cooksier, as they got the game winner for themselves in the World Series number 2, they're going to get it in this one right here. Cooksier coming back from offense, down to defense, says, I'm just going to stay in and get a goal. Incredible series from both teams. Resident had an insane amount of pressure, and that's what I tried to show you. I mean, Greasy Meister played great throughout this entire series. Marky Duda had a bit of a rough start, eventually stepped it up near the end, and Cuxier had a little bit of nervousness in game number 7. But the main story is that Resident was able to put a lot of pressure on. They kept it throughout the series, Flipside hand answer. They did with passes, and then Cuxier finishing that one off. But we're not done with Flipside. Greasy Meister is going to be on the line next, as Wavepunk is going to have a one-on-one interview with him. You don't want to miss it. This is Overtime. Come on right back.
Solar eclipses. Solar eclipses. Solar eclipses. Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we get started again. Caught up in your gravity, always end up lost in your wake. Intoxicated, maybe we get started.
I can remember all the reasons why we went separate ways. Feeling all alone in your company, keeping you captive with the chains.
We're night and day, solar eclipses. Too afraid to look, too scared to miss it. We're night and day, solar eclipses. Caught up
Welcome back to RLCS Overtime, ladies and gentlemen. We just got done talking about Flipside and some of the games on their path to the World Championships. They're there for their third season in a row, and a big part of that is Greasy Meister, the newest member, but he's no rookie anymore. Greasy Meister's been here 3 seasons in a row, and he's on the line to talk to us today. Greasy, my friend, how you doing?
Hello. I am doing very well. What about you?
I'm doing all right, man. It's good to talk to you. Always great to talk to you. Now, the first question, which is becoming my favorite question here in Overtime, is how did you get into Rocket League?
It started off by just playing for fun with real-life friends. They introduced me to the game. I was like a week behind them, I think, to like start to play it. And then we just started playing, and I improved very fast, like much faster than they were. And I was like, oh, this was quite fun.
Yeah.
So I just kept on playing and just met good players and just grinded out with them and just improved over time.
Yeah, and one of the really cool things about it is like you didn't play the prequel SARP, did you?
No, I started when I think it was 2 weeks after Rocket League came out.
Mm-hmm.
That was when I started the first time.
Yeah, and here you are on the top of one of the top rosters, and you originally were on a roster known as We Dem Girls, which was one of our favorite team names ever. And then you got picked up by Northern Gaming, and then you went to LAN with them in the season 1, and then you moved over to Flipside in the off season between season 1 and season 2. Talk to me about the change from Northern Gaming to Flipside.
People will call me spoiled because I went from 2 amazing teammates to 2 different amazing players. I had big like ambitions going into the first LAN, and I really wanted to win because I'm like really competitive. And it didn't quite go our way. We struggled a bit with nerves and like performing when it really matters.
Mm-hmm.
And I got an offer from Flipside, and Mark asked me if I wanted to play with him and Cookser. I was like, this is a big opportunity for me to improve myself as a player and maybe like get to the top with them. So it was quite a big change. At least they play very differently, so I had to like adapt it took a little while to adapt to them, but as soon as we like got our chemistry going, we were dominating, at least season 2.
Yeah, I definitely would say you have come into your own. You have adapted well to playing with Flipside. And season 2, clearly you guys synergized as you came out as the world champions. And then we had a lengthy offseason. And the offseason's a time for making adjustments, for figuring out what you want to do differently. But you guys were the world champs. So what was that offseason like for Flipside?
It was, I think we took like a month break, like to get reset, just hang out with friends and just get our mind off the game for a little bit since we've been grinding out so hard. And then we just started like playing casually together, not like going in too fast to our old routines. So we just played some ranked trees, just chilled out, had a good laugh, and then I think it was like 1 month before like the qualification, we started scrimming and like got back to our old routines.
Makes sense.
Again.
Makes sense. Definitely a way to do it when you are already on top and there's not a lot to change. So season 3 does begin a bit shakier for Flipside, but you've really come into your own here at the end. Many would say you are who carried Flipside to their spot through the playoffs and now into Worlds. How do you feel about your team looking at the World Championships for season 3?
The playoff or the regional playoffs was pretty tough for us. We were down 3-1 against Resonant in their decider match. And I think we were down 2-0 in that game as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh god, what is going on? And then I told myself, like, this is your time to shine. Like, you need to step it up if this is gonna work, because Mark and Cooks played alright, but I felt like I had more to give. And then I just decided don't give a damn about what I do, and stop thinking about all the consequences, and then just do exactly what I felt I wanted to do.
I remember on the last freestyle, Leaf said that you were greasy. I drank 100 million energy drinks, Meister. Just the way that you played was exceptional in that series. And here you guys are, 3 seasons of RLCS, 3 world championship trips. That's a hard one to say for Flipside and for you. What is going to be different about this season? I mean, you've already won once. Is it going to happen again? What's different about LAN number 3?
I feel like the biggest difference for us is the teams around us are improving so fast. Teams are just getting so good. Like, you can never trust in yourself enough to beat a team every single time you play them, because it's so close at the top right now. So I think the biggest difference is the level of skill that comes to the table this season.
Is there any team as everybody's improving, is there any team that you're particularly fearful of or that you have a specific amount of respect for looking at the LAN?
The team, we've been struggling playing against Mockit the entire season. Like every weekly we just lose trio. We had no chance. But we're starting to figure them out more and more and like adapt to the way they play. So, but I still think that's the team I fear the most going into this season.
I mean, it makes sense. They're the regional champions now. They took that title from you guys, so you'll have to fight for that one next season. But we're running out of time here, man. I got to ask you one last thing. Where does the name Greasy Meister come from?
That is a good question because I have no idea, to be completely honest with you. So we're going to have to figure that out together someday.
The Master of Grease. We'll come up with a story at LAN. It'll be fun. We'll make up something.
Yeah, we will.
Something. It'll be good. But thanks, dude, for calling in. Great to talk to you, and good luck at the World Championships.
Thank you very much, man.
Awesome. That is Greasy Meister from Flipside Tactics. Always good to talk to him, and it's exciting to see their progression, and we'll see how they play in the World Championships. I'm excited to watch. We'll all see it. But we got one more thing here at the overtime. One word. What is it? We don't know. It's going to be a fun segment. We'll see you after the break.
Eyes and body see through. Time flies when I'm with you. Looming below the sun, holding me like a gun. Sweat and rain fall in a dream. Grass can wait eternity. Follow me through the clouds. We're never coming down. Under the moon, day and night, journey with you. I'm falling far out. We're never coming down.
Welcome back to RLCS Overtime. Ladies and gentlemen, we just got done talking to Greasy Meister. Now we've got one more segment here for you before we're done for the day. It's called One Word. I give these two lovely gentlemen a situation or a question or something, and they've got a whiteboard and they've got to answer it or describe that situation in one word. That's why it's called One Word. Remember, use more than one word.
That's challenging.
You're
We're casters.
disqualified.
We're not supposed to just use one word.
I think succinctness is part of how this goes, man.
I'm pretty sure the problem is we don't know how to use little words.
Yeah.
It's actually a big issue we've got.
Yeah, no. So we'll see the point totals at the very end, but for now, let's play. First question, first situation. Denial beating G2 is blank.
Oh.
What you got?
Denial
No.
beating G2 is blank.
How would
Is.
you describe that situation in one word? It can be an adjective. It can be a Roman numeral. It can be a color. It can be a song, as long as the song's one word.
This is hard to make it one word.
Oh my gosh.
There's so
I
many
hope this
things.
I
counts
see
as
one
one word.
letter written down on one person's board. Come on, guys.
This is technically one word. It's how I type it.
Yeah, that's
okay.
what I was
As
thinking.
long as you can describe it to me in one word, you got an answer for me, Carpet?
Yep.
What is it, man?
Feels bad, man.
Feels bad, man.
That's
Dude,
technically one word.
The Canadians beat the G2 monster.
It's one of those, like, we all expected something else.
Okay.
I don't know.
Carpet feels bad, man. That's
it
fair, though.
felt
What you
bad.
got? What you got?
I
for
had the
Leaf?
same idea. I just kind of blended my words together. A national celebration.
A national celly. Okay, so technically a national celly is not a meme, it's not a phrase, and that's not one word. It's not an actual one word, so I'm going to give it to Carpet on this one.
Come
Carpet
on.
gets this one. Boom, puts that
This is
point on
rigged.
his board
Easy.
there.
This is rigged.
Easy.
A point for the beard.
Yeah, I didn't know
Question.
because if I'm happy for one team, I got to be sad for another. There's no good way to answer that.
It's fair, man. Feels bad.
Thanks
okay,
for making
so
me.
question number 2. Mocket winning the EU regionals is blank.
Mocket winning the. Oh, no.
They did win. They took it away from Flipside this time. Flipside were the reigning regional champions, and now Mocket beats them with the MVP K-Dop. What do you guys got for me? So close. So close. Oh, Carpet's really thinking of this one.
I have great answers, but they're all just like a lot
They're all
of
more than
phrases.
one word?
They're all a lot of words.
I have a lot of short phrases I want to come up with, but I just can't. I can't be funny in this. You're making this
Dude,
hard for me to be funny, Wave.
The whole point's to be funny. I don't understand.
This is more of a contest of who has the worst or worst handwriting. This is terrible.
So actually, I've realized that my bad handwriting also translates to terrible texting. I have
How
a
is that
typo.
possible?
I don't know. I have a typo in almost every text I send, and I just don't care to fix it because I'm like, you'll figure it out. You're a smart person. And then I get a bunch of texts back like, what is that supposed to mean? I'm like, God.
Okay, I think you have an answer for
Yeah.
me while we wait for Leaf to finish. Gibbs.
Gibbs.
I actually had to
He
erase
was
my
so
answer.
ready for it. Gibbs has been predicting them all season.
That is very fair. That's a good way to describe it. It's just Gibbs, man.
It's just Gibbs, man.
He rewrote the script for us. You got an answer for us, Leaf?
I actually was thinking about putting Gibbs 2, and then I saw yours, so I had to change it. I'm going to have to go with unpredicted. That's a real answer,
Unpredicted?
but I mean, they took the funny
I
one.
don't know if
so.
that's actually a word, though. Unpredicted?
for me-
So it's like they predicted it, and then we're like, never mind. We're not
Yeah,
predicting it. We're
anti-predicting. I think the word he's looking for is
Anti-
anti-predictable.
That's
Unpredictable?
unantipredictable.
This is a caster segment if I've ever seen it. Just making up words all over the place. 2 points to Carpet because I like
There's no
Gibbs.
math. There's no math.
Wait,
involved
you like
here.
Gibbs?
I liked the answer. Also,
fair
I like
enough.
who doesn't like Gibbs, man.
Get
Leaf,
wrecked.
right now, Leaf. If you multiply your score by 1,000,000, you're still losing. Question number 3. Not a question. I want blank on my team when down by 1 with 30 seconds left.
I want blank
This
on
is
my
easy
team when
because
down by
there's
1 with
all
30.
players' names. All player names are just one word. Okay. If there's, I can't even think of a player name that's actually 2 words. Can you chat? Can you think of one? Say hi in the chat.
Oh, stop it.
I'm just trying to think of any player names that are actually 2 words. I think every player is fair game here.
So this is an
Chat's
homage.
gonna be lighting up right now with
Yeah.
all of with the one player that I'm forgetting. All right, give it to me.
This is an homage to our dear friend Shogun.
Jacob. Oh, dude, that's not even a bad answer.
It's not. It's not a bad answer, and it's also me trying to pay respects to our fallen European friend.
He's not fallen. He's just at home resting.
He's missing.
He'll be back. It'll be just fine. What you have for me,
It's that
Leaf?
potato he ate before.
Yeah.
I paid homage also to someone that's not here today.
To Mike Rules, who's not even in the season. That's okay. That's about as close as you can get to having it be 2 words. But it is technically 1 word. And just because I feel sorry for Leaf right now, I'm going to give him a point for this one. So,
Thanks,
Leaf's
bud.
on the board,
Thanks, bud.
folks. That's 3 questions in the bag. Question number 4, or scenario number 4. NA will win blank series at the World Championships, and I want you to not use a number.
And 1 word? What?
1 word.
I can't even. Oh, what? Okay. North America will win blank series.
If you need to change up sentence
At land.
syntax a little bit, that's okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
I plan on doing that whether I have
Yeah.
permission from you or not.
That's how this works. A number, it'd just be boring to be like, they'll win 4 or they'll win
yeah.
5. I like 5 better. So
You know
I'm
this
gonna,
has a magnet. You can just like hang it on there. It's
Oh,
science,
you're right.
Science, dude.
Boop. Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
at
Start
that.
writing stuff on your board. Oh, now you're throwing stuff all over the
All
place.
right, we'll just leave that over there.
All right,
We'll just leave that. I was
now I
testing
have the
strength.
eraser. What, do you got an answer for me?
I have an answer for you.
Okay, I want to see it.
I had to cheat a little bit.
A lot. I like it. They'll win a lot of series at land. See, that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. We can add like little gerunds in if that makes it work. Okay.
Now that I'm looking at
There's
this,
a lot.
it looks spelled wrong, but enough.
He will win enough
No one
series.
enough.
Enough. We don't know what enough is. Is it enough to win? Is it enough to like just make us feel proud? We don't know. That's hard. That's really hard. So we've got the pun, and we've got I don't know.
Your
You know what?
handwriting is
Just
definitely
because
better.
Leaf got his done first, Leaf wins. We're all tied up at 2 apiece.
All right,
There you go.
I'll bite.
That was the hardest one so
I got
far,
you.
though.
Oh, yeah,
Coming for you.
thanks.
I'm
All
good.
right, 5. The biggest surprise at the World Championships will be blank.
Ooh.
Leaf's already going.
I got it.
Oh, he's going so fast. I'm so ready for this. Oh, I'm so ready. I'm so ready. You can't even see his
biggest
face. He's writing
surprise.
so fast. It's like geniusness is happening behind there. Who knows what's going to happen, folks? Up, Carpet's ready, though. Carpet, what you got for me?
It's more going to be a surprise because it's not possible.
You're a savage.
The funny thing is, I think they're all going to be there.
Actually, might go. It's going to be kind of a surprise. Like, hey,
They just
all
come out of
still
nowhere
showed
to
up.
start winning. All right, the biggest surprise.
What you got for me? So basically, Leaf might cast good. Oh man, but you see, that answer's disqualified because it's 4 words.
I know.
And the segment's called 1 word.
I know. That was such a sad response. He's like, I know, I just really want to cast good.
I just want to cast good.
I've been
Leaf,
practicing.
You cast good in our hearts all the time.
In our hearts.
So,
You need-
Carpet wins that one, obviously, because he played by the rules. And so now Carpet, I believe, has the lead. We'll find out at the end, because I'm not supposed to keep track of points. Next question. Which one of you can write Resident eSports the fastest? Here they go, folks. That's not a word.
Oh, I missed eSports.
Okay, you're both disqualified, because that's 2 words. And the question is, which one of you can write Resident eSports the fastest? So the answer is
That's
either
rigged.
The answer is either Leaf or Carpet or me or him or something. But yeah, it's not. Yeah. Trick questions.
I can't do trick questions on air.
Scripted.
Got him.
In front of the camera, it's so
Got
tough.
them both. Nobody gets a point there for that one. Now, question 7, which relates to something we were talking about earlier. The next thing Shogun is going to eat on stream will probably be blank.
Ooh.
Because he's eating a potato. He's eating sugar.
Oh, yeah.
What will, ooh.
He OD'd
What's
on
the next
sugar
one?
there. That was...
What's the next one? We had Lawler take the risk. So many consumable things happening here. So much food, so much
I'm just going to try to
sustenance.
win by default.
I totally know this isn't 1 word, but I can't give a chance up to roast good old Shogi.
Okay.
Because he likes to roast people. Uh-huh. But probably his own career.
His own career.
Yeah.
Oh, savage.
I miss you, buddy, but
He wants to give up the possibility of winning the game just to burn his
I will.
friend.
I've
there.
got confidence that I'm still going to be Leaf.
Oh, you think so? We'll see.
Oh,
We'll see.
that's
What? Cheating, sabotage. Okay, what you
I
got?
try to be clever, but I'm not a clever person.
Words. He'll eat words.
He'll eat his own words?
His own words.
Okay,
But I couldn't write his own.
So Carpet's answer was funny, but Carpet's answer A, broke the rules, and B, he tried to sabotage Leaf, so
Yeah.
Leaf gets a point there.
I just technically win.
And I actually do think I've actually technically lost track of who's ahead. So this is fun. One more question, guys. The last
Uno
one.
mas.
For all the marbles, the best way to describe Jacob's play style is blank. You gotta make this a good one. This could be life or death. I don't even know. It's
Got it.
pretty nutty, man.
Got it.
Nutty's the word.
I got the game
Nutty's been
winner.
like my new
I got the
favorite
game
word.
winner.
All right, Leaf, go for it.
Yep, I want to see us first.
Jacob, oh, that's gonna be tough to beat there.
Oh.
It's unique. Bananas.
The hyphen, no, you know what?
B-A-N-N.
Calling it a technical here.
What?
The hyphens, those are a bunch of different
Yeah,
words.
but you
Okay.
can't say bananas without singing that song in your head.
Technically,
B-A-N-A-N-A-S.
technically, none of them are words because they're just letters.
Yep.
But I like Jacob better, so I think I'm giving the
does play
point to
like
Leaf on
Jacob.
this one. Yeah, Jacob. How does he play? He plays only like Jacob. So I think that
Lame.
does it for all of our questions here. I don't know who won. You guys ready to find out who won here?
No.
Yeah, I'm excited because
not.
I never win anything ever. And if I can
You've been
grab
pretty
it-
competitive here. This has been pretty damn close.
I'm going in.
Yeah, you ready?
I'm not letting this guy beat me.
You ready? Let's find out.
think he
Let's
won.
see who won. Who was it? Oh, Leaf ahead by 1 point, and he takes the victory here. Have you won anything yet?
I got cheated out of one, straight up, and then I was hosting the other one, so no, I haven't won anything here yet.
I haven't won anything. I mean, I have not even been on any of these. This is the first time I've been on one of the game segments.
I think
So-
this is the only thing I've actually ever won.
Bad, man. He made it sound so like we were cutting him out, like the last kid picked in kickball.
I'm having fun. I get to pick the winner. This is great. But guys, it's been a great day here at Overtime. We've had so much fun talking about all sorts of things, talking about Flipside. We will have another show next week. It'll be great. But before we go, just gotta say, check out RLCS.gg. Get all that information on the LAN. It'll be lots of fun. We'll see you guys there, hopefully. Stay safe, and goodbye.